Okay, so quick overview on everything we've been looking at. First of all, of course, Bitcoin, absolutely terrible price action. Like I just said, um, we can't be surprised that we've entered this area. Again, this one was given, because I know Rudy just joined the stream now. This one was given in the King Bitcoin update, right there. Um, So November 21st, 2025 was when I put these volume levels down, and we knew that, okay, if we do bounce here for a monthly high low, the most obvious target based on volume is going to be that 1.5, right? The 1.5 above us between 95,792 and 96,665. And of course, we know there's a weekly fair value gap there, there's a daily fair value gap there for Confluence. So we can't be surprised that we did eventually go to that area. That's the whole reason why I've been so like not doing much at all in this range, because this is not where I want Bitcoin to be for me to take a trade, right? I'm not trying to take a trade here because, again, using my system, I'm under the belief this gets tagged at some point, right? So I'm going to wait patiently just for that to get tagged, and then I can reiterate and size nicely on, do I take a long, do I take a short, if we break above, or if we SFP. In this case, what did we do? We SFP, right? There's a 3-day SFP. On the weekly, it's even nastier. But what we had was a very clear rejection from this set area, right? So again, we were in this range for a long time. Again, November the 9th was when this was given, right? Or was it the 9th? One sec. I think on the weekly it was the 9th. Um, not November the 9th, sorry, November 21st, not the 9th, the 21st. November 21st is when this was given, right? Because the drop had happened. And we've been in this range for, or 21st, all the way to 21st, right? So nearly a month and a half we were in this range, right? Not doing much at all. Literally just, grabbing money off people in a low liquidity environment for, DJs trying to long and short every bounce, every drop. That's what's happening here. So many people have taken so many useless trades in this range, right? This is why I always tell you guys, you do not need to be in a trade every single day. You don't, right? Because look, realistically looking, on the grand scheme of things, if you look back at this, how much money would you really have made if you traded this range? Firstly, you would have to be absolutely accurate to actually even think about making any money. And secondly, look at the moves. Unless you're putting in millions, or unless you're putting in actual millions to catch these low, 1-2% candles, you're not making any money. You're not given any real moves when you're in that range, right? And that's the reason why I didn't give any Bitcoin trades or anything like this when we were in this area. We had one thing, which is this 4-hour order block right over here, right? If I go to the 4 hours to show you guys where that's from, there's your 4-hour order block. So this is a mitigated liquidity pocket. All I said was, look, if this is used as resistance, you can try to scalp shorts. If this is used as support, you could try to scalp longs, right? Because this is a mitigated order block. It's a mitigated liquidity pocket. Therefore, you can validate your thesis around that key area. It's an area in the past where buyers were active, and therefore, if sellers start taking control there, you have a reason to short. If buyers retake control, you have a reason to long. And that's the area where you had any chance, right, for longing or shorting outside of trying to catch the lows or the highs in this. Very weak and low highs, might I add. So nothing worth absolutely fiending over, in my opinion. So we're in that range for a long time until finally back in 15th of January 2026, right? So like a week ago, basically, we had the final impulse up after reclaiming this as support, and then we went and hit finally the first target we were looking at, right? That being the 1.5, the range high and the range low of the 1.5 standard deviation of your previous macro structure, right? And that being said, we had Confluence with what? A daily order block, that's the one in red, and a weekly order block, not order block, sorry, fair value gap, that's the one in the red as well, the bigger one. Right, so you went to the mid of both, you rejected off both, right? And therefore, what you have here is a prime opportunity to hedge, because you do not care whether you think Bitcoin at this point is going to go to 107k, right? I don't care how bullish you are. If you see rejections happening around key areas, what you do, you go and you take some hedges, right? That's what it is. You go and take some hedges. And again, that's the reason. I forget what date it was, but if I go back to crypto chat, I think I sent it. I hope I'm not dreaming when I sent this in. Did I send this in? One sec. Let's take a look. I do think I said something about. Yeah, that being said, if you're going to hedge shorts on anything, it'd be when things are resistance like this, right? So that was the trigger to go and hedge shorts on. This was given on when? What was the date, bro? God damn, 1 second. The 15th of January, right? Pretty much when that move up happened to resistance, many coins went along with Bitcoin, went to res. So I was saying, right, if you're going to head short on anything, we're going to do so here because that was our first key target. If we cannot get above this, we're dreaming about 100k, right? Because if you cannot even get above this 1.5, everything else is an absolute dream. So yeah, we went there and then we rejected. It's what it is, right? It's, you know, of course I wish for many people, and I wish that, you know, it was easy mode and it just reclaimed and we negated all the bearishness and we just absolutely ran it up to 100k, so on and so forth. But that's not what we got, right? And what the price action told us wasn't that either. Therefore, we just got to adapt to, you know, whatever the price action is telling us. So that is my Bitcoin thesis. So right now, what am I thinking? I'm thinking, right, there's a 4-hour order block, right? If that 4-hour order block remains valid, if that 4-hour order block holds, right, then, you know, we might be able to once again scalp along to the upside, right? If it doesn't hold, then we are not going to be scalping longs in the middle of nowhere for no reason, right? Because if this doesn't hold, then there's a low, there's a low, there's a low, there's a low. All of those are going to be targets to be taken out if buyers cannot defend here. It's as simple as that, right? So that right there is Bitcoin. Sorry, I'm just like looking at something on my phone at the same time I'm speaking right now. That's Bitcoin. And again, back in the same boring range is what it is, right? Back in the same boring range. If this fails to hold, the first thing we look at is, let's see how much of this liquidity we take out. Here's a low, here's a low, here's a low. And if those are lost, then, you know, well, these become targets, right, as we know. If these don't hold, if this holds rather, sorry, the 4-hour order block holds, then what I'm thinking again is, well, let's see if we can get back towards 95, 96 on the higher time frame basis, because that's where the target is, right? Maybe we reclaim the channel and then we go higher. But one thing for sure, right, you do not want to sort of, locally speaking, you don't want to go and lose this trend line, right? That would be, that's going to give you a nice impulse to the downside if you do go and lose it here. So if you see like a bearish backtest of this, things like this, like as long as you're below this, the mid of the 4-hour order block, you can try and scalp some shorts, right? That was your first area to do so. If it didn't do it there, this is going to be your next area right over here. I'm only in 2 head shorts, but I've opened those with bigger size, which is why I did less shorting. And those shorts are BTC and Dash, right? Dash for very obvious reasons, because it went to the mid of the yearly accumulation range, like I was telling you guys. And the other one is BTC, just because, well, like I said, again, it's rejecting off a key area, right? So those are the 2 head shorts I'm in, and that's it. Because again, if you have size, you don't need to open a million different ones, right? Just focus on the ones that's giving you a good setup. Bitcoin gave us a great setup for a short here. Dash, well, that was just fundamentally so easy to short, because after such a huge pump up, right, an insane move back down was, after rejecting off the yearly mid, it's just something you expect, isn't it? So, but yeah, that right there is Bitcoin. And let me open up chat to make sure I'm not missing anything with you guys here. Okay. AST, no, I haven't got any ASTS, brother. But I know you called that one back in day. Because that wasn't one of the ones I entered. But that was a cook, bro. I'm glad you made money on that one. And hopefully a few other people in the server got in with you on ASTS. Yeah, IREN and ASTS, those are 2 I missed, because IREN, fucking hell, thingy, Leo called that as well when it was like, bro, single digits, IREN, and that bitch ran so hard. But yeah, I missed IREN, I missed ASTS. Let's see, gotta try setting to another wallet, yeah. But it's fine. So the reason, the other one I do want to go over is, of course, Dash, because this one made some nice gains for a few of us in the server who took this one. So if I go to, I think it's in Bunker, if I go to Dash, bruh, have they, oh wait, hang on, I was getting confused for a minute. Is it because it's, yeah, there we go, Dash. Yeah, this one, this was such an easy short, right? And this was such an easy bid as well, guys. This is what I mean. I'm only going to send charts in that I think actually look good, right? And that's the reason I shared Dash last stream as well. So this was on YouTube, so hopefully some people from YouTube got in as well. But completed harmonic 886. That's a deep Gartley, right? 618 2.0 with yearly levels on the left, right? That's all yearly levels. At the bottom of your yearly range, right? Here's your yearly range. Pretty much at the bottom of that. Obviously, like, whether you select it to this low, that's up for debate. I just went with the actual candle closes, right? All those wicks for me, there's just liquidity grabs. But at the bottom of your yearly range, with a completed harmonic, right? After a move up has already been presented. So this is a second opportunity for people to get in, to distribute, right? So this was such an easy bid, like an easy 162% on this one. And I know a few of the ladies in the server got in this one. And hopefully a few people from YouTube did as well. But this one was so easy, right? Because I didn't give you guys this because I thought, oh yeah, Dash is for sure going to pump up. Again, you guys know how I work. I gave you guys this because does it get easier to manage risk than this? Well, yeah, arguably it does. If you were all the way down at 31, that'd be the easiest to manage risk. But when you have an 886 completion at the bottom of range, holding yearly mids, there's no guarantees you're going to go to the yearly low, right? So that was the easiest place based on the price action we had when we went over this last, right? To actually get into this asset. You just hold spot and that's it, right? I didn't leverage trade this. I just bought spot because you can put in size, right? You don't have to worry about getting liquidated on some random wick down. That doesn't matter. That's inconsequential on the higher time frame. And then you're trying to capture moves like this. Now, did I know we were going to get 2 days of 160%? Of course not. But this is why I always tell you don't enter a trade thinking how high can it go, right? You always, of course, you're going to have that in the back of your head. But the main thing always is how easy is it for you to manage your risk, manage your emotions, and manage your, just the actual risk profile in your portfolio when you try to enter an asset at a particular price. It was so easy to manage here, and there is no way on earth anyone can look at this and say this was an easy trade management, right? And again, many people are going to be sharing this in hindsight, but again, this was given like when that membership was completed, right? I shared this one with you guys. And that double bottom structure came in. This was just perfect, right? So again, am I surprised we got a 162% pump? In a way, yes, because obviously it's a lot in terms of numbers, but this is crypto, right? In terms of, you remember, how does range trading work? If you hold the range lows, where's the next target? It's the range mid, and there's your range mid. It's as simple as that. So when I go there, I close my spot positions, I take profit, right? And if I see pure weakness coming in, which this was just straight weakness here, I'm going to open a head short, right? Hence why, again, Dash, I've got that short open from 89.59. Notice I'm not concerned about, I need to catch the Pico top on this. I don't, because I entered this with a higher time frame mindset. This is to hedge any spot positions I've left, right? So then you just enter that short because you know what your invalidation is. For me, the invalidation is simple, right? 89 is right over here. If we start flipping up and holding 93.8ish as support, I'm going to get out that hedge short, and the remaining of the spot bags can run a bit more, and I'll take profits higher, hedge a bit higher, right? But many people think the only use for leverage is, of course, to scalp, right? Or to just lower time frame trade. It's the only way to make money. It's not. You can be completely successful. And I know a few people do this. I know you guys are all familiar with Ronnie in the server. She does this specifically. And I gave this one to her on one of our one-on-one calls back a few years ago, right? Where she's a higher time frame trader. She trades spot. She doesn't really use leverage much. But basically for people like that, what I recommend is you don't have to use leverage on a lower time frame. Use it simply to hedge any spot bags. Right, so she hedge shorted XMR, she hedge shorted Zcash, right? Because she had insane bag of Zcash, and that's still using leverage to retain your wealth. But you're not using leverage in how most people use it, which is just to think, okay, I need to catch this move with 100x and make some quick money on it because my port's not big enough, so on and so forth. There's so many different ways you can use leverage as a tool, right? The reason I say leverage as a tool is because you can use it in many different ways, just like a tool. You just gotta figure out what kind of person are you. Because everyone who messages me says, I want to scalp. I want to quit my day job. I want to make money scalping. Bro, I'm telling you right now, you have to be in the upper quarter, the percentile, right? You have to be in the 99th percentile if you want to quit your job and make money scalping on a regular basis. It's very, very difficult. It's one reason why I haven't gone full-time scalping, full-time trader. Isn't because I'm confident in my abilities, right? It's because why would I put myself in such a stressful position to begin with? It's a very, It's a very arrogant way to think that you can just come in, spend a few months in the chart and think you can just conquer the lower time frame, right? There is no easy way to do that. So, it is a pet peeve when people say, oh yeah, I want to quit my job and I just want to scalp and make money. It's like, yeah, it's fine to scalp if you want, but that should not be your main reliant source of income, right? And I say this to every single person. It should not be a main reliant source of income. In my opinion, the best use for leverage is number one, to hedge your existing positions, and number two, for catching like pico extremities, for big swings, right? Number two. And number three, yes, scalping is amazing. It's absolutely amazing with lower time frame. I'm not trying to deny that, but you need to spend the time and you need to have the mindset, the skill set, the mental fortitude, and the emotional control to be able to pull it off, right? Most people don't, and that's what it is. But yeah, so Dash, the reason I shorted this one, again, very, very simple, right? That is yearly mid, rejection, so then it's you know, I'm not going to bet to the upside once we already have moved this big, right? But yeah. River. I'm not sure. I'll check it out, bro. Which one's River? River USDT. Let's take a look. I don't think I'm familiar with this one. Let's do that. 17. Oh, Jesus. Fuck if I know. I mean, that's a nice range. And you broke out and retested the said range right here. Don't know, man. Oh, I swear to God, like, it's so hard to find these. Like, I don't know what River is. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. Season 2 airdrop. Insane. What can I say? Well, I'll be looking to fade it. It's what it is. Flipping the support. That would have been a very good entry, right over here. But yeah, no, I don't know what this is. Technically speaking, there's nothing to be done here. Technically speaking, if you really want to go, let's take a look, shall we? Now, I don't know if this is an older chart than this. I'm just using the, obviously the $56 next. If you get above that, 63 to 66, 78, 91, 103, so on and so forth, right? But yeah, golden pocket, liquidity raid, front run. This is going to sound like a load of gibberish to the people on YouTube, but you guys know what I'm talking about when I say all those. So, liquidity raid, golden pocket, liquidity raid, front run, higher. I mean, it looks solid, bro, honestly. It looks good. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it does. It looks good. Let me add this to... What the hell? Oh, yes. I thought I was in the stocks one for a bit there. Okay. And there's that, right? So, we've looked at Bitcoin. Let's look at Ethereum real quick. Let's look at Ethereum. Yeah, nasty. 2024 12-month seller zone low, rejection. You couldn't get above, and now you're trying to once again lose the historical price range 3 mid. If you lose that, if Ethereum goes back to like 2,600, like it's what it is. It's just the range. You're literally just range bound. It's just the dirtiest price action ever. And once again, just like Bitcoin, there's a lot of liquidity that can be taken. So we have this right here. We have this right here. We have this right here. Those all become targets, right? So maybe if they do want to give us higher, they fake us out, reclaim and go up, or you know, just who knows at this point, right? Because the thing is, the previous statements, which is the monthly high low, hasn't been invalidated on Bitcoin nor on ETH, right? Technically speaking, monthly is still at a high low, right? That right there is a high low on the monthly, and of course, if I was to do that, the monthly mid is still support. We haven't lost that, right? And there's the previous month as well. If you want to make it even, better, that 85,000 level, you can see how important that is, right? Extremely important. So then, if you do this, you can see the rejections we're getting, right? Way back from 93.84 again, right up here, and then bouncing off where? Just that same monthly mid from previous. Again, this is in hindsight, right? These are all levels that have been created over the last 2 months. So, as long as we're above 85, this sort of area, I'm fine. You might go to raid 83, like raid this monthly and then go, and then like reclaim. But it's so hard because on the higher time frame, yes, this is so distributive right now, right? This is literally screaming every time we go up, supply comes in. Every time we go up, supply comes in. But after that supply comes in, should we go lower and buyers come in at the lower price and go and slurp the supply up, guess what? It's not going to drop as low as people think, right? So all we can do is hope that when we get to our key areas, buyers defend. If they don't defend, you react accordingly, right? So right now, 87,553 is the level that's holding. If it holds 93.84, right, we've seen that happen, right? It held, it went to 93.84. Now you're going back down. So the next target's what? Again, it's going to be 87,553. And on the lower time frame, you might try to put some sort of cheeky smiley face in here, something like this, maybe, I don't know, right? But this is your general area. If this is lost, that's the one I don't want losing, right? 85,712 to 85,502 on Bitcoin. That'd be horrible. On Ethereum, if I do this, it's pretty much the same thing. Here is your monthly mid, right? And again, you can go and do another one right over here. That's your previous month. So I'm going to go and make that one yellow. But you can see, you know, buyers tried to stay above, but you just couldn't, right? You couldn't. Rejection, piercing line, attempt at a piercing line reversal, just to attempt to even hold it as support. Like you got that, but then up to a lower high. You couldn't breach past the piercing line, right? You couldn't get above that fair value gap. And then that's once again saying, so Ethereum looks ripe right now for 2844 to 2807. If you lose that, 2720. If you lose that, 2622. Right, those are just the key levels. For this local range on Ethereum, those are the key levels to pay attention to. Disappointing price action right now for sure. Yeah, just look at that weekly. That is insane, bro. That is terrible. Disgusting. But yeah, ETH against BTC was looking good up until not even that long ago, like a few days ago, and then now again, it's big red. So if that line's lost, I think a visit back to the point of control is very much due for this again. Drop down, point of control right here. I think that's very much overdue if that doesn't hold. But yeah, so that's Ethereum, that's Bitcoin, and that is Dash, right? So those are the ones. XMR, another one. Let's go over that real quick because that's another one that since the last stream, that's another one that's popped off. Just look at it. Higher time frame structures. This is why I always say spot is what changes your life, not lower time frame trading. I've been sharing this chart since 2022 in the few groups, Unity, AR, and the old. There's one more server, Live Trades. I'll be sharing this one, right, on streams, anyone who listen. And do you think it was easy to just hold spot positions, right? Just add. Do you think it's fun to just slowly descend into things that's range bound over the course of a couple of years? Of course not. Of course not. It's not easy, especially when, like, you know, you go from, let's say, somewhere around 121 up to 188 and back down to rate that originally to 104. It's not easy, right? But you persevere, and as long as the technicals are sound, right? As long as the technicals are sound, you know, you've got nothing to fear. Right? And eventually what happens is something like this. All of a sudden everyone's, you know, like Pikachu faced, how come we've gone so high? But the fact of the matter is the footprint was left behind. The footprint of accumulation. Technical reason why, you have a wave structure, right? You have a 786, you have a double bottom, you have raids to you have a low and you have a rate of the low that held, right? If you look at the footprint charts on this, it's going to be insane. Let me see if it allows me to too large. Let me quickly do this. Let me go to a stock, switch to footprint, and then change the to 200 or something, 2000 for now, and then go back to XMR. There we go. Okay, and you know, you look at things like the footprint chart, so on and so forth on this asset, right? So let me do 200 just to check. Okay, that's good, right? In fact, can I work on the monthly? Of course it can. Okay, take a look at what you notice here. Massive red candle, but look, that is huge aggressive buying coming in. Massive red candle. Typically, what would that tell you? That's telling you that buyers are being absorbed, right? But again, this is what we call now candlestick divergence, right? Take a look how the monthly closed. Can you really call that buyers being absorbed? I mean, yeah, if people longed right up here at resistance, of course they got absorbed, right? But look at the lows. Look how much, there was a very high amount of selling pressure coming here, but look how you close above your entire value area, right? And look, that's where that concentration of buyers were the highest as well. So actually, buyers were absorbed at the top, but buyers were not absorbed here. They were defended, right? And then the following few months, what happens? That value area is what's constantly being attempted to be taken over, right? But it's not, right? The low is holding, and eventually you have that upthrust past your actual fixed range volume profile, right? Your value area in terms of your aggressive buyers and aggressive sellers, and also your volume, right? So there is clear absorption going on here in the monthly, right? In the 3 months even, you could probably take a look. Now, I'm not sure about this one because I've not checked it, but let's take a look. But yeah, take a look here, right? We know there's a huge amount of aggressive buyers going on, but where's the most aggressive buying going on? It's right over here. Right, you have your clear point of control in hand, and now since this is a bit slightly higher time frame, this is the quarterly. What happens? Look, all you need to do is drop this down. Now, this is not going to give you the perfect lower time frame entry, right? But for a high time frame thesis, look at this. There's your range. There's the range you don't want to lose, right? Your 2 point of controls for the 2 quarterlies of the range, and then you go and you flip that into support, and that is what gives you that momentum to flip the highs of the range to support and then send higher. So my point here is, whether you look at it with footprint charts, whether you look at it with traditional technical analysis, right, harmonics, whether you look at it with fibs, doesn't matter. XMR was lining up very, very nicely. So all you had to do was realize what was happening, have the patience to build a position, have a risk profile, and get it. Same with Zcash, right? So it's not easy, but then, eventually you do get vindicated, and that was a very, very nice move to catch, right? My average was around here somewhere. But of course, it's like, you hit your primary projection of the wave structure. And again, this is a 2015 to 2022, right? And then extend to 2024. So nearly a 10-year wave structure in the making. Again, traditional harmonics, this isn't traditional harmonics, right? In the sense that this isn't what Scott Carney software is going to pick up, so on and so forth. But what harmonics is just the application to try and explain wave structure. That's what I'm doing here. That's a 618 from the all-time low, right? Then that's 1.618 and a 786 to the extension. To me, that is a Gartley. Even though it's not a Gartley in the traditional sense, right? In the traditional harmonic sense, that wave structure that's developed was a Gartley. And so there's your T1, there's your T2, there's your final target. So you hit the final target to the T, might I add, and then you back down 1.272 of this ABCD here, right? ABCD 786, 1.272. Turn back into resistance after that move up. So look, on the move up, you closed above, right? So that's bullish right here. When you see this, you don't need to take profit straight away, because what this candle here told me, and what it should have told everyone if they were looking at the chart, is there isn't enough sellers, there isn't enough supply here to warrant treating 1.272 as resistance. If the following candle had broken below, and then you'd reverse, then you'd be like, yeah, okay, but you closed above, right? And the following candle retested that, and you carried on going higher. So that's how you avoid taking profits too early. You're still doing it through technical analysis, right? And then you get your next move up to the target, and then look what happened on the following drop down. Then you close below, and then you attempt to go above, and you can't. So now you know, finally, that 1.272 has been regarded as resistance. And if that's resistance with the next key level, well, there's a buy-seller zone right over here that you reacted off once, but your next proper key level is right down over here. And XMR now is at a very, very interesting area, because look where we are. Previous all-time highs. Right, so if you can now flip previous all-time highs into support, you can get some very nice reactionary trades off there. Right, there's an order block down over here if they want to, but they might drop this all the way down to 374 if 478 is lost. So all you do now is just wait for structure to be on your side. But remember, what is the trend on this asset? The trend is to the upside. Do not fade that trend. Okay. You can get some very nice leverage trades off from here if you just pay attention to the risk management profile and what kind of price action you're getting relative to that level, right? But there's a lot of charts. There's a lot of charts that I've shared when I was away with you guys. One sec, let me catch up with the chat. River, yeah. It's karma. You can't catch them all, you know what I mean? Like, there's always another opportunity in the market, right? It's like I'm not mad at crypto's going sideways because I've got a safe full of gold, silver, right, copper, copper cups, so on and so forth. I've got stocks, I've got shares in banks. Like that's what diversification is for, right? The only people mad right now are the people who are all in on crypto, and that's fine. But again, even if you're all in on crypto, if you've been playing your cards right, if you've been hedging when you go to resistance, so on and so forth, you're not in a bad spot at all, right? Um, ETH, that's nice. That's a very good trade, brother. Eddie Cow. Favorite spot bags. So the ones I shared with you guys, pretty much, I'm just gonna be choosing some from there, right? So I've still got some Tau. This is long term. I've still got some Tau. I've still got some Sui. I've still got some Sol. I've still got some Link. Your top five. Like I've literally got your top five, bro. Like I've got bags in your top five, and I'm gonna add a few. Like I'm gonna slowly add. Like I already have a few positions in these as well. That's Fed, right? I'm gonna add some more because the structures on these are looking good, right? Obviously I had Dash, I had XMR, so on and so forth. I've taken profits on those. So I'm just looking to rotate that again on my main port. Um, yeah, XMR. My if the 10-10 wick hadn't happened on leverage, the flush, I had an insane entry as well. That's a really good entry, bro. But mine's closed. I would have made a lot of money on the XMR long. I shared it somewhere. It's gonna be on YouTube or Twitter, but I had an insane entry on Bybit. But the when the 10-10 wick happened, obviously my leverage got flushed out. So yeah, that one got closed as well. But yeah, that's a very very fire trade. Maybe I should switch to Blow. So did did the did the drop affect only Binance and Bybit? On leverage. Because I had positions in there like that were nowhere near stop loss, but everything got closed out because obviously because of what they say, right? The utilization or whatever, the risk utilization of your account was too high or something. So that's what auto closes and like unwinds leverage trades. But maybe it's time to move away from Bybit because Binance and I know Bybit got hit. I know Binance got hit, but maybe some other. So did Bluefin not get hit by the 10-10 wick? Because I think I had about what like 55% on my portfolio in utilization, and so altogether I'd only like literally like less than 10% in my leverage account during the 10-10 wick, and that was around 42k, right? Because I didn't want to put much into leverage. When everything is a high, you guys know how I operate. Yeah, the 42k just got wiped, bro, on the 10-10 wick. Like I'm not mad because, well, I'm mad. Of course, I'm mad, but I'm not distraught, right? It was like 9% of my total port in crypto, so it's nothing I can't bounce back from. And I made that back with Dash, with XMR, so on and so forth already. But yeah, it was definitely a sour taste in your mouth when you wake up. Oh, that's nice, bro. Yeah, it was above mine as well, but I think it's because I had a load of my other. This is why again cross, right? Did you have that on cross or isolated, bro? I'm guessing you have it on isolated. Because on cross, yeah, my trades. That's the one problem with cross, in it. Cross just I got murked because obviously your entire account is utilized. So, but yeah, it's what it is. Still had spot. That's what spot's for, isn't it? So, um, let's take a look. XMR, perfect. But yeah, there's things like Jupe. Interesting areas to say the least. A gig shared this. Sorry. When was it? Oh, I forgot when. But Gig shared this chart, and then I really liked it. When did she share it? Hang on, let me go to crypto chat. Uh, let's take a look. One sec. Yeah. There was the really really nice harmonic on it, the deep crab that she pointed out. So that is here. That's the one. Yeah, deep crab, right? I still like dupe honestly for spot. Like if you wanted to sort of slowly like DCA in and not go all in at once and just have some for the long term. I feel like you could, especially if you actually treat it like a leverage position and just individual levels. So for example, if you turn 183 to resistance, you lose that. You cut your entire spot bag until you either reclaim it or you go down to 1-2, right? You can do it. You can trade your spot bag like a leverage bag basically. But dupe does look insane. I can't lie. And another thing, of course, is Like, look at where we are. As long as this holds a support, yeah, we're good. If this is lost, then 14 cents, right? Um, 14 to 12 cents. But otherwise, like, we're at a very, very good level right now in terms of risk management. So there's many assets like this where I know it looks horrendous, like LTC, right? As long as you're within this box, like realistically speaking, historically, it's been a bid, right? You know, look, all I present to you guys is pattern recognition, and pattern recognition tells me, look, unless this time is the one that changes to everything, every time LTC goes into this trend, it gets bought up, right? So you don't want to enter on a red candle that is not showing you any signs of strength. We're not seeing any signs of strength yet, right? But once you put your yearly levels down, you see any completed wave structures, so on and so forth, and then you see this, and then you see signs that okay, buyers are basing here. That's when you enter areas like this. LTC, look, listen, do not get bogged down, even on the weekly, in my opinion. Like, just understand the type of structures that some of these are building up. And until it gets invalidated, we can't be like, oh yeah, but what if it goes down to 24? Well, what if it doesn't? What if the structure holds and you go up to take that fair value gap at 168, right? So, you know, FET, for that reason, just look at where FET is, you know. We know there's massive M shapes on this one. There you go. And right now you're turning everything to resistance in terms of M shape. So obviously when that's happening, maybe don't just go and bet the entire farm. You want some sort of confirmation before you go heavy at least, right? But again, like, just look where we are. Again, you're not entering this because you think this goes to $5. It might not, but all you're asking yourself is how easy is it to manage your risk? Because if you enter based on that, like let's say, you know, you manage your risk simply around the 2.618 at a reclaim, right? And eventually you won't be like, you're going to be very happy even if you catch a move literally just the next PRZ, because that's going to be 80%. You're going to be over the moon if you then have a trade that runs 327%, not because you know it's going to go there, but simply because you simply entered when it was the right time to enter according to the risk profile, risk management that you have in place. Right, that's it. So yeah, Fed, right, Jupe, LTC, KCS still looks decent, I can't lie. This one looks good. Take a look at it. For whatever reason, KuCoin token looks very, very good. This one, Mitch Ray mentioned in one of his streams a few weeks back, and then I was thinking, right, let me do my own TA on it because it looks really, really good. And then yeah, it looks insane, bro. KCS does have really, really good structure. Link as well, of course. Add demand line right now. If that's lost, link back to $11. That's what it is. If $11 is lost, back to consolidation range. But otherwise, link. Right. Again, link is one of those bags, right? When I say I'm going to enter some of these, you guys got to understand. I'll probably enter fresh positions on leverage, but for many of these, Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, Link, I know many of you came here at the tail end of this bull market, but for those that were around the last bear market, like just think of what the entries we had, right? Our $5 entries are very, very safe in my opinion for Link, right? For now anyway, until it gets invalidated. And these are the averages that we have for spot, for those that stuck around in the bear market. So even though it's down right now, the reason you don't hear panic in my voice, the reason you don't, you know, the reason I'm still just basically doing what I do on a regular basis, on a normal basis, without any panic or anything like this, is because for many spot bags that we still have, the averages are still very, very low. Now, I've not told you guys to go and add link at $21, right? The last link entry I gave you guys is right here, at the completion of the M shape, right? And even if you entered there for spot, you're still in the green, right? And obviously, for those that were here before, your average is going to be even lower, talking single digits, right? So we're literally still in the green from averages. So depends when your entry was, but just link is another one. The structure's there, right? You're above your consolidation range. You're not breaking below. You're building something at least, right? So yeah, let's see if we get $11 if it holds. You know, try for leverage longs, like. Try to add spot. I'm only going to add spot if you really get some deep value corrections. Otherwise, I'll be trading leverage here because I've got enough positions on these, in my opinion, for my main port. I don't have a challenge account running right now, so I'm still looking at this simply because of where it is, guys. Right? Not because I think this is going to change your lives, but you know, technically wise, 2.24382 all-time lows in terms of the MEXC listing, anyway. So as long as you're above this zone, risk becomes very easy to manage. This is one of those things you could even put like just a couple $100 in it and walk away. And hopefully that couple $100 like turns into like a 10x, right? At some point, take these highs out, or even like a, you know, $100 turns into like 672 or something. Just like one last sort of like fadeaway pump, right? Before it dies for good or some shit. I don't know. But you know, that's all hopium, right? But the main thing is how easy is it to manage your risk? And you know, look at where you are. It's so easy to manage your risk. So that's just a few of these. There's Uni. I shared a load of charts with you guys on stream. Oh, one of the one we should go over. One I did share. Okay, SPX. If anyone bought into spot XPX, I'll be very careful. Okay. Number one, I did say if you enter this, do not enter full position, right? For this very reason, because you were not at optimum prices when we looked at this last, right? If as long as you're below the 86 2.620 of the bat, I have got zero interest in SPX, and I mean that with all due respect. I have zero interest in this, especially if we do end up losing this red box. Okay, this red box, this is your sort of like line in the sand. This is your lifeline, right? This is your lifeline. If that's lost, you just close this position, okay, until you reclaim this area. And what you hope is you get some sort of fake out to a reclaim and then just send it. That's what you hope for, okay? But below this, you can see why you don't want to be holding this, because what you're targeting below this, well, below this, I'll pretty much just target the X point, 25 cents. Right, used to be a fair value gap there, so on and so forth. Just target that area. And obviously, that's a 30% drop minimum, in my opinion, to that area. Yeah, 31, right? 31 to 41%. So you don't want to be bag holding that. Unless, like, you know, unless you put that into your calculations when you entered, when you came up with your DCA plan. So just be very careful with SPX. Yes, the structure is there, but they can easily fake us out and then reclaim, right? So all we got to do is manage our risks until the time is right, and time is not right when we're going below. Unless if you're doing like, you know, just slow daily additions, like you know, like $30 a day or something like this, right? DCA, that's fine. You can just keep bidding this because your plan doesn't account for time, right? Or rather, it does account for time. That's why you're just doing daily DCAs. But if you're doing more level-based DCAs, don't have it below this. I'd just enter above your key level or until you get to your next like raid area, right? But there's a lot, guys. There's a lot. Pendle, this one very interesting, is still above the last entry I gave you guys on Pendle. I don't know which one I gave it in, but it's going to be in a thingy. It's going to be in the server, sort of the call section, because someone asked for Pendle and I said that's a good entry. Pendle is showing very good strength, relatively speaking. I don't know why, but maybe just because of where he is in the chart. But Pendle looks decent in my opinion. For spot. So yeah, there's a few there for you guys. Of course, I've given you guys more, right? There's more on the actual charts I shared with you guys. I know I took the piss because I kept saying 3 more and adding more and more and more, but just because if I see opportunity, I'm going to share it with you guys, right? Okay, so that's that, and of course, you know, stocks are doing fine. AVBP, this is the flip the square, insane move up. Right, that was the last entry I gave on this one. If you flip that into support, we look for the move higher. There's the smiley face. AVP up really nicely today. Again, don't forget this has insane structure as well on stocks. I'll probably do a stock stream another time, guys, because I don't really have time today. Core weave if it flips, right? There's the flip. The flip has happened already, right? But I've shared a lot of stocks with you guys as well. I'll do more. If you guys have any requests, again, just let me know. URAA. Another one, right, off that 886 that we discussed on stream. Insane move up, right? This thing is up from 72%, bro, since that last stream we did in December. Insane, right? IREN, another one, of course. From that entry, we are out 57% total, right here, there. So even though, yes, I didn't get in at the lows, at least I've caught a 57% move on it from this low. Asan, okay, keep an eye on this one, because if this is a raid to reclaim scenario, we might have a banger trade in our hands. We simply need this to reclaim properly. This reclaims, Asan's going to be a go-to entry in my opinion for spot. Just look where it is. Nike, I know, again, a load of negative job reports, but look, charts don't care. They've been going up, right? Not quite an 886, but remember the main factor was the fact that we have hit the deep crab, right? 1.618. Lift, don't forget the macro for lift looks good, very good, right? SMR, another one on the macro looks good. RCAT, insane move on this, bro, actually ridiculous. 156% on this one. right, from that entry right over there. It's gonna go to $23 above this. So yeah. But yeah, as you can see, there's loads of opportunities, guys, right? Yeah, crypto's red, who cares? Metals are all-time highs every single day, right? Um, and eventually, we're going to get short opportunities on those. And, who knows, maybe liquidity will flow back into Bitcoin and it's going to stop behaving like such a little bitch. But, yeah, opportunities everywhere. That's why, again, I mentioned, for those that didn't pull the trigger on any hedges, right? When I gave that ping a few days ago, when was it? On the 15th, yeah, on the 15th when I gave that ping, saying, that, if you are going to hedge short on anything, it would be when things are resistance, right? That was on the 15th of Jan. If no one hedged, and now you're watching your spot bags bleed, just understand what the power of hedging is, right? Because hedging is very, very good. Ondo. I'll look at that. I'll look at that next stream, brother. Or maybe like I'll do like a private stream on it if I get a chance before I go back to Nepal again, and share my thoughts on it. Leica, yeah. Leica, that's another one, yeah. AEM and BTG. Let's take a look. Let me add those. AEM, Angio Eagle Mines, and then BTG. Okay, I'll add these two. Interesting. Oh, I mean, I think this one's a bit too late. I wouldn't enter AEM. Not interesting to me. Simply because of where it is, right? Not because the chart looks very healthy. That's what we hope the cryptos looks like soon, right? But there's no risk profile here. I cannot, in good conscience, tell you guys, oh yeah, just buy and hold. It's gonna keep going up. This one we could probably do something around, so I'll take a look at that. But let me move this into minerals. Actually, wait, no, this is the bunker chat. So stocks. Which one is it? I'll just add it to both. Yeah, okay. That being said, guys, just a quick update because I know people will be watching the recording of this later as well. We have one more person that's going to be joining us. We have one more person that's going to be joining us for our next batch of core and advanced. And they're currently on holiday and they need to have a surgery when they get back. So they said by the end of this well, actually the weekend is 25th. They said they'll confirm with me on the 25th if they're going to go through with it or not. So I'm just waiting on that one more person, and once they come in and once I'm back from Nepal, I'll start the next batch of core and advanced. And then the people waiting for Wyckoff and Elliott waves, again, I know a lot of people are waiting for that one. I'm so sorry about the delay on that. Once I'm back and after Valentine's Day, we can get that one started. Okay. We have, because I'm just after I come back from Nepal, there'll be a period where I'm very busy here. After that's done, because I don't want any interruptions, we'll get it started sometime like late February, basically, for the Wyckoff and Elliott waves. Again, I know you guys already know this. Like, if you want to learn just Wyckoff and Elliott waves on a basic level, you could do that on YouTube. Okay, what I'm going to be teaching you guys is my application to it. I've got my own system. I call it the ISS system, right? And obviously we get into all of that once we actually start the Wyckoff Elliott waves. But if you want literally just what is Wyckoff, what is Elliott waves, you do not need to be paying anyone to learn that. You can do that on YouTube, right? For free. So what I'm going to be doing is going in depth into how to actually use it, applying it, case studies into crypto, into stocks, so on and so forth. Niches I've found, pattern recognition. Again, that's one of my skills. So that's what we're really going to be doing with the Wyckoff Elliott waves. So that's going to be fun, right? So this will be the first time and probably one of the only times I do it. So, but yeah, just wanted to update that because I know really you've been waiting for a while. I'm so sorry about the delay. But once this final person, because they've known me for a while, always follow me on YouTube, so they want to join officially. Once they're in, we can get started with that. Yeah. PayPal, yeah, that's let's take a look. Ooh, that's a beautiful area. We finally went back to the box. I had no alerts set up, but that's nice. There you go. Man, easy to manage risk for these, eh? But yeah, that's PayPal. Nice. Yeah, bro, that's a very good entry. I might get some of this as well, or at least have a long on it on my trading tool one too. Um, yeah. My own fund's going to be live very, very soon as well. I had to delay that because of how busy I've been on this side of the pond. But my own fund's going to be live this Sunday, and then I'm just going to start in whenever I have free time, just trading the shit out of that. A few years of just pure solid results, data, a mix of scalping, a mix of swings, and then after that, I'll let all the because we already have a couple million in interest, right? But I've the way I'm thinking is the size I want the actual fund to be isn't obviously just like low millions. So for now, instead of letting that in and already restricting myself, because obviously once I'm trading with the actual um, investors, clients' money, I can't just go and willy-nilly do whatever I normally would, right? I gotta have systems in place, regular meetings. So instead of limiting myself like that right at the start, I'm just gonna trade it with my own and a few of my friends, right? We're gonna keep it like a friends close thing, and instead we're just going to keep a track of every single day, just log all the results, and then after that, come 2030, right? If all my friends agree, because my friends want to do a bit quicker, I'm looking at really, really long term. But hopefully they agree to this. Come 2030, that's when after 4 years of just solid, hopefully growth, right, and not blowing up the fund, um, which I'm 99% certain I won't do. But of course, you can't be 100% certain on anything with things like this. Um, then we'll have just a solid amount of results, and so hopefully it won't just be like right now. If I open the doors to the people already wanting it, it'll just be a few million in fund size. But we just go straight to minimum, like like 50, 60 mil in investments, because there's a lot of big players on that side of the pond, China, Hong Kong, especially and a few in Thailand that I want to try and tap into. So that's the long-term sort of plan I'm thinking with it. Um, but yeah, just a lot exciting, also very very time-consuming. There's a lot I need to be doing, right? But yeah, right now I've got a cold. Um, this emergency that I had to come back for has got me really tired, depleted emotionally and mentally. So just gonna take a few days to recharge, deal with everything, be back in Nepal to finish up. I've got some more property purchases, land purchases I need to finalize, so on and so forth. And after I'm back, hopefully I'll be in a way better state of place again to just sort of flow freely like I usually do, right? So I know I've been a bit MIA for the last sort of week or so. It doesn't mean I'm like quitting the space or anything, guys. I know that's one of the biggest concerns people have in this space. Like I said, trading is something I'm gonna be doing for the rest of my life, right? Whether at some capacity, whether it's just higher time frame, whether it's taking shorts, swings here and there, hedging, I'm gonna be here for the rest of my life trading, and this server will be here in one way or another for the rest of my life. If I create another server, you guys will be there, right? If I move to another platform, you guys will be there, so you don't have to worry about that. But all of the requests you guys have got, AVAX, Doge, Phantom, if you guys put it into chart requests, what I'll do is I'll go over that in my own free time, and I'll release private videos for those, bro, because I really need to get going right today. Um, yeah, sounds good, brother. Thank you. Sounds good. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'll yeah, I'll end this here. I'll put this one up on YouTube.